This is Jody from Sweet Manufacturing, going to show you some of the preliminary adjustments you can do easily at home on your 700 series Sportsman steering box. There are two primary adjustments you can do on your steering box at home. The most common is going to be the over center lash adjustment. As you can see on a pitman shaft, the teeth are cut at a slight angle. You adjust the pitman shaft in, you will tighten up the lash. You adjust it out, you will loosen it up. This is a common wear point when you get a lot of time on your steering box or you have gone through several crashes. The secondary adjustment, which is a lot less common on your steering box, is going to be the adjuster nut assembly on the input side. On the input side of the steering box, there are thrust washers and a bearing underneath the head of the worm screw, and there are thrust washers on the bottom side of the adjuster nut. These contain the spool valve assembly and allow it to rotate freely inside your steering box. On the input side of your steering box, if your adjuster nut lash is set improperly, if it is too tight, you will have a real sticky feel on your steering box. Also the same with the over center adjustment. If this adjuster nut is too loose, it will allow the valve assembly to walk back and forth in the steering box as you turn, and the ports and seals between them can misalign with the ports inside the box and actually extrude these seals off of the valve, which will result in a loss of steering control. Adjusting the input side of the steering box is easier if you have specialized tools, but you can make do with most shop supplies. The first thing we want to do is get the lock ring off the adjuster nut. With a special wrench that's made to engage the dogs, it's a lot easier. You can use a block of aluminum and a hammer, catch an ear and break this loose. Break your lock ring loose, remove it. If you have an adjustable spanner, engage the slots in the adjuster nut. Snug this down, make sure it moves freely. Snug it down to 15-20 foot-pounds. Mark the outside of your housing even with one of the holes. Once you have your housing marked with a line even with the hole in the adjuster nut, back the adjuster nut off about 3/8 to 1/2 inch. Once you have that distance set there, reinstall your lock ring and torque it down to about 80 foot-pounds while ensuring that the adjuster nut does not move. Once that is torqued, you can check your off-center turning torque. Your off-center turning torque is going to be measured from a quarter turn in either direction or further. The goal here is to hit 10 to 12 inch-pounds. Tighter than that, the box will bind up. Looser than that, you will have lost motion with the worm screw and the valve moving up and down in the box as you turn with load on the steering box. Adjusting the over center or on center of your steering box is accomplished all through the stud and the jam nut through the side cover. As we showed earlier with the angle cut on the teeth, if you have backlash in the gear set itself, you need to run the adjusting stud in. Once you have the adjusting stud where you think it should be, rotate the input side of your steering box until you feel a slight bump directly as you cross the center of motion of the steering box. What you're looking for here is 18 inch-pounds. Something close is good enough. It's going to be fine if you get 16 or 20. Too loose and you'll have lash in your pitman arm. Too tight and the box will actually bind. If the box binds, it will stick until you turn the input enough to where the pump builds pressure to make the box jump off of center. If that is bad enough, you will swear that the box is loose when it's actually way too tight. All you want is to get rid of the lash in the gear set right as you cross center. We're aiming for 10 to 12 on the input side off of center, 18 inch-pounds over center. Just a little bump, that's all you need. If you have any more questions, contact us at Sweet Manufacturing via email or phone.